Hello, friends. We are back again. Welcome to Page Chewing. We're here to discuss House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 4, The Red Dragon and the Gold. Pretty good episode, I have to say.
Agreed.
Excellent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here with Layla and Jared. Layla, will you start us off with an introduction?
Sure. My name is Layla Goshi. You can find me on Twitter. I enjoy writing, editing, teaching, and talking about House of the Dragon.
And Jared.
Yeah, I'm Jared. I run the Fantasy Thinker YouTube channel, and I'm also on podcasts, Speculative Speculations, and other fine podcasts here on pagechewing.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. This is going to be a fun one. Lots of things happened. Lots of lore, too.
Yeah. Lore and I think some payoffs from earlier scenes and incidents.
Yeah.
So, and it's great to have that, I think, in the middle of the season, too. You know, in the middle of the season also, so that we're not left with a cliffhanger. Yeah, but it was very exciting, true Targaryen, fire and blood. I loved it.
So
we were talking last week about how episode 3 seemed like it was setting something up, and I was not expecting such a payoff so quickly with this next episode. I was blown away. I was just like, wow, a lot of stuff happened here, and I think episode 3 is actually even better now because of the way they set us up to bring us this episode and all this a lot of action, like you said, a lot of lore, and just a lot of payoff of what they've done so far so well. And I thought it was very cool. It makes me wonder how they're gonna keep this going and top it, but it's been really, really good so far.
Yeah. And I think if we now go back, I think we're now at the point if we go back and start watching the first season again, I think we'll start even noticing more Easter eggs, as they say, or, just some kind of forecasts of things to come. I especially want to go back to and look at Rhaenyra and Alicent's relationship as girls, because it kept, last episode and this one, we have Daemon seeing a young Rhaenyra again. And yeah, so that's a callback for him, but I think Rhaenyra meeting with Alicent last time, there may also be some things to look at more carefully from when they were younger. So, yeah.
I remember watching Game of Thrones and I haven't finished I haven't finished the series yet, but we'll be reading that here shortly. Anybody who's interested, but anyway, but Harrenhal, it always looked like a spooky place, and there was like murmurs about it being haunted, or there's something going on there. It kind of takes it to a whole new level with Daemon and his visions, and seeing Alicent and the noises, and we get some details too about Harrenhal.
Yeah, that was cool. I like that she was he called her a witch, the woman in the kitchen there, and she has showed no fear of him whatsoever, and she told him about the bed being made from the heart tree, and that was like the lore you were talking about there, Layla, and you kind of automatically associate that with the nightmares, visions he's having, and I don't know if that's a forced association on the writer's part to get us to automatically think that, or if that is actually what is happening, because we have always been a little wary about the level of magic and how it seeps into these stories. Of course, we have dragons, but the
Mhm.
magic's always been pretty low key for the most part, other than occasional witch summoning something or what have you. So it was very cool how they wove that in without really answering it, giving us a hard answer there, and just the feel of it was great.
Yeah, I love that too. I do think that it is establishing some continuity between the Game of Thrones series and the show series, but also the book because of the underlying, Song of Ice and Fire lore that underpins all of this, which was called, we had that emerge not only from the heart tree, the werewood
Yeah.
mention, but the knife that Aemond picks up from Aegon, or Aegon has lost. And then just Rhaenyra telling Jaehaerys about the Song of Ice and Fire, so passing that down to the next generation. So it was all kind of there mixed, and I do think that's intentional, and it really, I think, gives a boost to the show, the Game of Thrones show, to have that continuity. So we can look at it from a marketing angle too. But no, really, from the story, I mean, that is the story, so it makes sense that it should underlie both of these series, and I hope it continues if they go into, if they do any other series as well, which we keep hearing rumors. So yeah, but I love that.
They have to make more, right?
They have to.
They have to.
The what's the one? The
Is it Duncan and the Egg?
Yeah.
Is
Duncan. Yeah,
or
I'd
Duncan
love
Egg? Yeah.
to see that one.
Yeah.
So,
It's interesting because
but
that
yeah.
like you brought up Rhaenyra telling her son about the Song of Ice and Fire, and remember last week we were just talking about how King Viserys waited way too long to pass on that information, and now she's doing it right away. And of course, that emphasizes the urgency of war and the dangers and everything else approaching, that she's taken that step that soon. And I love that contrast.
Yeah. And she realized she has to be lucid, when she says it, no matter how long she lives, that that's not something that should be kept from them. But it really, to me, made the battle scene even more poignant because, she's saying, here's what we're really here for. Here's what Aegon the Conqueror, this is what he knew, this is what he's passed down, this is our purpose. And then you pass to this battle where the Targaryens and their respective allies are just battling each other with no concept of the bigger picture. And that's the kind of stuff, I mean, just like, wow, this is great stuff. It just makes it very deep and complex, and it's something to reflect on.
I think the scene right after she tells him about the Song of Ice and Fire it goes right into the battle. So she talks about the real enemy banding together to fight the real enemy, and then it goes right to them fighting each other again. So it's just that's what people do.
Yeah, and
fight each other.
That kind of honesty that Rhaenyra shows towards her son, in entrusting him with that and telling him that. That's kind of contrasted by when Alicent is asked about when she asked, was it, who was she asking? She was asking somebody about if, oh, she was asking the maester if her father said anything to him, not her father, her husband, the king Viserys, and the maester of course said nothing, and she says that line, the significance of Viserys's intentions died with him, and she kind of said that to Larys Strong, the Whisperer, the new Whisperer, and so that is like the total opposite of what Rhaenyra is doing, because they don't know. She doesn't know for real. She wants to believe that her father meant for her son to her husband. Sorry, I keep calling her father. Her husband meant for her son to be on the throne. That he said that, but she doesn't know for sure, and she has all these doubts. And there's all that doubt on that side, where there's a bit more surety on the other side. And once again, the contrasts that keep coming up between them is just fascinating.
Yes, and even the contrast, just to follow that line, when she goes to her son Aegon, or Aegon comes to her, I think. No, yeah, and she's looking. He comes into his room, and she's in his room, I guess, and she's looking for Viserys's books, history books, and asks Aegon where they are. He had them taken out. And there's a contrast right there, too, because here's Viserys, studying the past and learned, and then Aegon just having no interest whatsoever. Although he is still young. I mean, that's something else. And she turns around and just treats him, like a teenager, like an unruly teenager. I mean, just berating him. And there's that contrast too between Rhaenyra and her son and Alicent and her son. And that really triggers Aegon into wanting to prove himself. And I partly think this is going to sound weird. It's not all his fault that he is the way he is, because it was Alicent and Viserys' responsibility, to just, even if they did think that even if Viserys thought Rhaenyra was going to be queen, if Viserys said, this is how it's going to go. I mean, you still have to help everybody else have a purpose and vision in life. And it just seems like, they really didn't do that for any of them. I mean, they just kind of ran wild. But after the fact, Alicent and Otto could have done more. I think Otto thought he was doing more by taking charge, but he wasn't really mentoring Aegon. He was just telling him what to do. So
there's a power struggle there too, right? With Otto, I think he enjoyed having the power and didn't want to give that up either. And I remember when we talked about season 1 a year and a half ago, or however long it was, we kind of made fun of Viserys by him being weak, and no one really respected him. But during the battle scenes, I wondered, did he maybe have the right approach? I mean, was that really because they did come out of this long period of peace. So was he not so much weak, but was he just trying to avoid this kind of conflict? Because what is this all going to solve, really? I mean,
I think that's right, and I think generationally we've now seen the loss of that with Rhaena, who fell, but she's the one that refused to torch all Alicent and everybody,
right?
When she came in with her dragon. So she, up until this battle, had acted to also preserve the family, and now she is also gone.
Yeah, that was rough. That was because she was a cool character, and her dragon, of course, was very cool. And seeing her go down was like, oh wow, that one hit. That one hit hard. Yeah.
It did, because what I thought was, her dragon died, but she was still alive. But it's just like she let go. I mean, and then you realize, well, she couldn't live without her dragon. She wasn't who she was without her dragon, because she did not get injured. And there's really probably nowhere she could have gone anyway. But she showed no fear. She just, as her dragon died, she knew that was the end for her too. I found that was also really poignant. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably some of the coolest dragon battle you'll ever see.
Yeah.
I was stunned by it. I was just like, I don't recall seeing anything quite like it in the Game of Thrones. I mean, we saw a little bit in Game of Thrones, but this was something else. It was very, very cool. I don't know what they're doing for the graphics or what have you, but it worked.
Yeah, I agree. And it seems like that's not that we were hoping for a dragon battle in the Game of Thrones show, but just to maybe even a flashback, I don't know, just something that would give us an understanding of how dragons interact in that world, and what a battle is. Even the ice dragon, we really didn't get much.
Yeah.
Did we? Yeah.
I think we had one scene at night. That's about all we had.
I mean, we saw dragons unloading upon the populace and stuff like that in Game of Thrones, especially the last season. But not as much direct dragon battle as we saw in this last episode, which was and it was interesting because you saw the full effect of size. Size matters with these dragons, and you saw the full effect of an experienced writer, and I thought it was just displayed very well, like what's going to really happen with with experienced writers and with a dragon who's been around for a lot longer than the younger dragons, and I thought it was just. The whole thing was just done so well, I thought.
I have a question about Aemond's dragon. The wings were tattered, and when I first saw that, I thought, is it going to get off the ground? And I can't recall if Rhaenyra's was tattered. So I'm trying to figure out, when did Aemond's dragon become so. When did that happen to Aemond's dragon? Does anybody? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, yeah, I noticed the wings look pretty like they had holes in it, but I don't think I noticed the same with Rhaenyra's dragon from episode 1 when she goes to find the remains. I don't remember her dragon's wings being
me either.
Tattered.
And I don't know if that's just an effect of old age or how the dragons age or what have you. Or if that's the effect of some way past battle that we never saw, but
that's right, because Aemond did not get a young dragon. He actually, okay, all right,
and and then I thought Rhaenyra's dragon fought back fairly well, up until a certain point, but because I think she was a little more experienced as a writer. But eventually, that big bite, ooh, that was brutal.
Yeah.
That was rough. So I have a question about Aemond. At the end of this, my impression of him is that he's the only thinker among the entire Targaryen clan, because he's plotting a plan. Rhaenyra's off, trying to talk to Alicent, and Daemon's in Harrenhal having visions, and really, I think, ruminating over his his lot in life to a certain extent, because the visions he's having are about Rhaenyra, and then he has a vision of him decapitating her and the crown falls between them, all of that stuff. But meanwhile, Aemond has a plan, he executes the plan, and it almost works. It does eventually work, but there's a few little things that screwed it up, like his brother Aegon
Yeah.
coming in. But what do you think? Is that just a temporary, is that luck, or is that really important in the story?
Didn't he delay on purpose because he saw his brother's dragon coming?
Oh, yeah.
He delayed on purpose,
Mhm.
and when I think that was definitely, an improvisation on his part with that he thought opportunity was knocking right there. That's what I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one reason why I went back and watched again is because when Sir Christian Cole is walking up toward Aegon's dragon, he sees Aemond standing there. And at first, I had missed something, and I thought Aemond was actually pulling his sword out to do the death blow on Aegon. But then when I watched it again, he had walked up there with his sword out and then was sheathing it.
Right.
But it still kind of leaves a question in my mind, because Cole just shouted out Aemond, and then he turned. Yeah. So, yeah. And I wasn't sure, was Cole concerned that Aemond might be about to do something, or was he just saying, "Hey, Aemond, is that you?"
I think he was stopping him from finishing the job, or making sure.
Well, he almost died himself. Cole.
Yeah.
I thought he did for a second there. Then later on they show him getting up from that battle, but and he was a little probably quite angry at Aemond for not following the original plan. So we'll see what comes of that. That's going to be interesting.
I noticed on Cole's armor around this area, I've never quite noticed before, if it's been there, that there's a ring of hands around his neck. And at first I thought, what in the world is that? But, first of all, he's the hand, but then I it's kind of like a choking symbol as well. Like they've got him around the neck, if you go back and look at that armor. At first I thought it was dragons. That's why I stopped and looked closer, but it looks like hands.
He is kind of screwed.
Yes. And that reminded me of what we were talking about last week, just the position he's in. They put himself in. Yeah. So, but love is blind. So, yeah.
Well, we get some. So Alicent seems to be on a steady diet of, was it moon tea?
Yeah.
To prevent anything from happening there with her.
Right.
Her outings with Cole. Does she? It kind of seems like she's kind of over it with him, unless that's just an act. But you kind of get the impression that she just kind of had it because she, like you mentioned, she lets Aemond have it too. Aegon, sorry, she lets Aegon have it. Just kind of just get out of the way and let us do our.
Yeah.
You don't realize how much it took to get you where you are. You're just in the way.
Yeah.
Just stay out of our way and let us
do nothing.
Figure it
That's
out.
what she said.
So I think she's kind of had it.
That was cool.
Yeah.
I think that's understandable just from the pressures, and people just making decisions that she either doesn't agree with or putting people at risk. And I do think there's that undercurrent of doubt now with her. which
Yeah.
explains her looking for the
Yeah.
books.
And she didn't show up to the council. So that was,
Right.
that feeds into that as well.
Right. Yeah. Um, and I was going to say, because I had said last week, I wanted to look up the issue between her and Helena. And it was that at one point, Alicent touched Helena and Helena flinched.
Mm.
Just looking back and looking at a bunch of discussions online, I think the main theory is just that was an indicator of Helena's, neurodivergence and not wanting to be touched. But at the same time, she doesn't behave that way around Aemond and Jaehaerys. Like she would dance. She danced with Jaehaerys, and so the thought is, could she? Which is, I think I said this last week too, but could she just sort of feel that undercurrent of trouble that Alicent was going to, just bring forth by her error, So I guess we won't know. um, at least I don't know if the show will even show us, but again, I just find that another yet interesting layer to her relationship, really, with all of her kids.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, another parallel I liked that they showed right at the beginning was they showed Rhaenyra's council without her there, and kind of how rudderless they were, and finally she shows up and starts giving a little direction, but then they went and showed the council with Aegon and how chaotic that was, and it's just like both sides are just kind of like flapping away here, not really having anybody in charge and not making sound decisions, and it's just they're people who actually have the means to be active and not where they should be in order to make good decisions and stuff like that. Of course, that only just leads to more messed up situations all along the way, and it's pretty good how they just did these contrasts throughout the whole show, and I just really loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And it really shows that they are family and they're all alike, because everyone's like setting off on their own. They get their idea and they just strike out, and they're going to do what they're going to do, whether it's Aemond, plotting with Cole, or Aegon getting upset and running off, and Rhaenyra doing her thing. And none of them are keeping security like we've been talking about on their properties. But mostly the ones who think they're in charge just don't consult with anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, oh gosh, I think there was something else regarding that. I'll think about it again in a moment. Oh, Daemon. I forgot to include Daemon in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in his vision in Harrenhal, he sees Aemond, right? But it's himself, but with Aemond's face in the patch. And so I'm guessing that with the names being so similar and all these signs, there's going to be some kind of showdown eventually, I'm guessing.
Yeah. And I took that they've always, since the first season, they are a lot alike. Again, going to the second son thing, again, going to, I think Aemond challenged Daemon, didn't he? Remember at that banquet last season? So they are a lot alike. So that scene, I saw it two ways. I saw it as he sees himself in Aemond. And in terms of how both of them act, they're probably each other's greatest foil or rival or whatever, you know. Um, but yet they are family, and the reason, I mean, probably, you know, they have similar behaviors because they've grown up in the same family too, you know.
Yeah,
So.
Aemond does seem a bit more cunning, though, or
Mm-hmm.
calculating at least. Whereas Daemon is a bit more direct in his dealings. He lets he definitely lets his temper get the better of him sometimes, and whereas Aemon is he got mad when he was humiliated last episode by Aegon, but he kept that inside, and he used it later when opportunity arose,
Yeah.
and he saw, that was so key to see him tell his dragon not to go yet. That was like,
Yeah.
I got to see the ramifications of this, because it was just such a key moment, and he let the battle go on for a certain amount of time until Aegon was going down, and then he comes in and defeats Rhaenys and her dragon. But and then he's the first one there to see what happened with Aegon, that the job was done. We get this little suspicion of why he was going in with his sword drawn, but he might have just been trying to protect himself. We don't know. But anyways, but and we saw Aegon's body, right, laying on the ground.
We saw him laying there, and Cole did. You would expect that if someone thinks if Cole thought he was alive, he would have rushed to him. But yeah, I feel like it's been left because the dragon was still moving. You know?
Not in a good way, but
not in a good way. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but Aemond did get the knife.
He took the knife. So. Yeah. A nice little symbolism there. And so I think he's dead, but we'll see. I don't remember from the book or anything like that, so I have no idea. But
I really don't remember either. I mean, I don't remember how it all went down. But that's that comparison we just made between Aemond and Daemon. That's what I was getting at. Like, Daemon gets mad and he flies off and he's reckless, but Aemond gets mad and he channels it, and he easily could have taken it all the way.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have killed Cole too, for that matter, but he didn't. Yeah.
I kind of expected him to kill Cole and kill Aemond.
Yeah.
Or Aegon, excuse me. Too many names. I thought he was going to kill Aegon and then kill Cole, because he did wait for them the dragons to be fighting together, and then he attacked when they were together. So it was kind of two dragons with one stone, I guess.
Yeah.
I could pontificate for days over this. The other part I thought was that here comes Aegon flying in, and Cole is like, your king is here, fight for your king. And he's the most useless king, that you can imagine. And so it's like, it's, people, it's the idea. They're motivated by an idea, not the reality, and I also find that very just interesting. It really is the symbol that's driving them, and not the human in this case. Now there are other leaders, but yeah.
And of course, none of these troops, these soldiers, have really probably ever had contact with their king. All they have is the picture of a king. You know, they all got white hair, so they must be special. And
Right.
and
Yeah.
and all they have to go on is their immediate leaders, people like Cole, who are just, you know, who have their own reasons for doing what they're doing. And so that, you know, that it's that idea of, like you said, it's a symbol. And if they actually knew the little shit, they probably wouldn't even go running into battle, you know. But they don't.
Yeah.
Do they have a choice? I mean, if they refuse, then they're probably getting their head chopped off too. I mean, but yeah, I guess and the dragons aren't precise weapons either. They're pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, you stand out of the way because I think they kill as much of their own army as they kill. It's the damage that happens is pretty intense.
Yeah. I think it's just about the way. I mean, I think of this in terms of a lot of different things, but just how, you know, you're one person, you caught in this momentum of this bigger, you know, thing that's happening, and then they say, "Oh, your king is here." Oh, wow, okay, you know. It's really, I mean, Martin really does great with this kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So
I love that shot from above that shows that castle ruined by the dragon crashing down.
Yeah.
And, that was
yeah,
And speaking of that shot, it seems like Cole kind of missed out on the opportunity to kind of have his moment of glory because he was knocked out. And when he does start to run towards battle, Sir Gawain Hightower was kind of seems like he's going to take the kind of like seize the moment and symbolically be like the hero of the day when it was really Cole. I mean, I guess. I mean, it was Cole's plan, but he kind of missed out on that too, which kind of sucks because Sir Gawain's kind of a jerk, right? I mean, he's kind of a so.
yeah.
They're all jerks, but
in their own way.
yeah.
Oh, Gawain.
Yeah. You think he's still alive, right? Yeah. Okay.
I think so. I think he was leading the charge in the de-walled castle.
I wonder what his report is going to be back to Alicent. You know, what's he going to say when they come back to King's Landing and figure all this stuff out?
Oh, interesting.
What's Daemon's story going to be? I mean, because everybody sees it. I mean,
And where was he? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like what's Aemond? I'm sorry, Aemond. What is his excuse going to be that he tried to burn his brother? And I mean, it's a lot,
right? And he didn't.
It's a lot.
He didn't kill Cole, so he's gonna have to, because there's gonna be some explanations. I mean, I think episode 5 is gonna be the episode of explanations for all these guys, and you know what went wrong at the battle. What did they actually win? I think they
did. They said into the breach,
yeah.
Something like that.
But this was supposed to be a minor little place that they got. That it was Cole's plan to go there instead of Harrenhal, and this was supposed to be this minor little place that they take so that they can, you know, better have a strategic position to surround Dragonstone, I believe. And it even though they won, it's kind of a big disaster because it seems like they didn't win with without a lot of loss of life and a lot of destruction going on, including possibly the king.
You've just reminded me of something. Okay, well, first, it looks like it was Cole's plan, but I think he got a letter from Aemond. Is that right? Remember when he got that letter, and then he tells Gawain, "We're going northeast." he got some kind of secret letter that he's
Yeah.
holding. So, but what you made me think was they'll probably blame it on Cole
Oh.
unless he keeps the letter.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know. Yeah, but then the other thought, you know, Rhaenys now dying, Alicent will remember that Rhaenys spared them.
Mm.
So I hope that eats at her too. Not taking sides, but but that's got to eat at her too. To know that she held herself back and was, you know, hoping for the greater good. And so that's great for Alicent. And then the last thing I want to say, you said Aemond and you said Daemon too, but I think there's got to be some repercussions that he was not where he should have been when this all went down.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean,
Yeah.
he was supposed to take Harrenhal.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I don't think he's been as successful at getting his objective to taking Harrenhal was raising more levies and getting more pledges and stuff like that. And I'm not so sure that was successful at all, based upon the one conversation we saw with I don't remember who it was with. It was with some house, right? And
Oh,
I forget
Blackwood.
their names.
yeah,
But yeah,
right.
Blackwood.
And he wasn't exactly nice to the guy.
Yeah.
So I think the question for him is not where was he, but why haven't you lived up to, you know, why haven't you done what you need to do so far to get us?
That's a great point. He just hasn't really even sent a raven or anything, so
and he's not communicating
he's isolating
with anybody.
himself. Right.
Well, he's blacking out for like a whole day too.
Right.
Yeah. That werewood bed.
So the werewood stuff goes back to the children of the forest, right?
I think so.
Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
And you know, if we want to make that connection with with Bran and you know, the werewoods have had influences. We've seen that in the future. We will see that, you know, from the Game of Thrones, that the werewoods have some say, I think, or want to have some say. But I just think it's pretty funny that, it's the werewood. But what I wanted to ask about when the witch, Alice Rivers is her name, and she gives him that potion, and it's like he wakes up in the middle of a conversation. So was that like a dream the whole time? It just seemed like there's some missing time here, probably on purpose. Like, it's like she was giving him the potion because he couldn't sleep, but next thing we know, he's like awake and talking to one of the Blackwoods, or he's waking up.
Yeah.
So,
I'm wondering. Yeah.
so that's something to think about.
Was he just falling asleep at a table, or was he actually just? I don't know. Yeah, it is something to think about. Is there something else, a little more sinister going on in Harrenhal than?
Makes you wonder if something happened.
Yeah.
You know.
Interesting.
So when he does meet Alice, there's frog noises in the background. Was that a Maggie the Frog callback?
Ooh, interesting. Maybe so.
Because she does kind of very mysterious, kind of the prophecies.
And I don't remember. I remember Alice Rivers in the books. In Fire and Blood, but I don't remember all the details about her significance. So that would be something probably really fascinating to follow up on.
Yeah.
And then another one I did have to look up, but the Alan Alan on the boats.
Oh,
On the
Mm.
boat.
yeah.
So, do you all know who Alan is? I don't know if I should say
I
yet,
forget.
or
Totally
yeah,
forget.
I won't.
He's Lord Corliss's bastard, right?
Okay,
Yes,
makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of the way I got because Rhaenys tells him your mother must have been beautiful or something like that. Like
yeah,
kind of like a I know who you
right,
are.
yeah.
yeah. So I went and looked that up because I wasn't sure if we were already supposed to know that or if that was still to come. But that will change maybe now that she's gone. I wonder if he'll start to rely on him more.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be good to see, I think, a little more from Lord Corlys. He did finally show up to the council.
Yeah.
But I would like to see a little more of him being a bit more active in not only decision making, but on the sea or whatever. So we'll see what this battle draws forth as far as how much it escalates the whole war here.
I'm chuckling because when Rhaenys asked him to come back to the council, or I just had this thought of him thinking like, oh, my in-laws, I have to go, I have to go help him get
Yeah.
straightened out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great because they are family, and there's so much at stake power wise. Seems like there was something else. So much.
What a family to marry into, huh? Jeez.
I know. Yeah. And they criticized Bela for not torching Cole. And then she said, well, when you have a dragon, you can tell me how it's done.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. So I just wonder. I'm trying to think what else.
Yeah. Definitely my favorite episode so far.
Oh yeah. What else do you have in your notes, George? Anything
No, I
else
think
you
I
have
covered
written down?
everything I wrote down here. Other than no, Auntie, no, she's dead. Okay. But yeah.
There's 2 questions I have for next time. I wonder if who is the hand now? Is it that guy? You know how Aegon said he pointed to the guy behind him, one of the white cloaks.
Oh, he's
And he's like, this guy.
he's the new
now.
Kingsguard. Head of the
Oh, okay.
Kingsguard.
He's
Yeah,
the
he took
Kingsguard,
Kristen's Cole's
but
place
not the hand.
as the head of the Kingsguard. And
Oh,
it's kind of amusing how they showed him
okay.
as like a bumbling idiot. Like when
Yeah.
when the Kingsguard goes to leave the room, he turns the wrong way and bumps into the guy.
Right.
And, another great decision by Aegon there.
But I wonder, he was pulling kind of like at his metal collar,
it's uncomfortable.
like it didn't fit right. But where was he when Aegon took off? So I wonder if he'll be one of those who is on the wrong end of the sword next time for letting Aegon run off. Because what is the Kingsguard's real responsibility there?
Yeah, he'll probably just get yelled at.
I wonder.
He'll probably just get yelled at.
Probably just get yelled at. But that did kind of, when I was thinking about it, kind of called back to mind the hands around the neck of Cole, and then this guy pulling at his collar. So, or is it just anybody in that position starts to feel that closed in feeling,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, so I wonder how that's. And I can't remember this either, but Otto's got to show back up after all of this.
That's could be that seems like a interesting possibility, definitely.
Yeah.
I want to know more about Harrenhal. I think that's really
Yeah.
interesting. Really, a lot of lore. It's great the way they build on the other series. They kind of fill in the gaps there, and really neat.
Yeah. I hope we do see more of that next time. Next few. It was great to see the Tully's ancestor.
Yep.
And he did stand up for his surrogate father. I forget who exactly it was.
Yeah.
He's
Right.
the heir. Yeah. So, but he stood up to Daemon, so he's got some strength, even though he's young, because he told Daemon he wouldn't put a pillow over.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, Damon's not wrong. I mean, he would. I know his approach was a little,
A little.
but I mean, it's like we can't wait for. Just we need help now.
Yeah.
Like this is
True.
True.
Yeah.
Or that's great and everything, but I can't wait. So either make the call or put a pillow over his face.
Yeah. He was.
How many lives will be lost?
He was right. He was right in the worst way possible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's not the best approach. He doesn't really have a bedside manner, but
But you think at every stage, there's a chance to make a different choice.
Mm.
And maybe the heir should have just said, "Hey, yeah, go do what you need to do," and give his permission for whatever. Yeah.
Well,
such a great series. This, I think, is one of the best. There's always that recency bias, but I think this has got to be one of the best of either the Game of Thrones or this. I think this episode, start to finish, was one of this pretty damn good. I think it's top 5, top 3.
Oh, I definitely think so. I think it really is. It's up there with, some of the other battles. I wouldn't put it over like Battle of the Bastards or something like that, but definitely a lot of action. But also for me, it's each character's complex issues, as each of the main characters and the different that are at play as they're involved that really make it interesting.
It wasn't like a complete battle episode. There was a great battle at the end, but there was a lot of stuff that happened in the episode besides it just went on with the battle. So, that'd be hard to because it's been so long since I watched all the Game of Thrones stuff. But all around, you're right, Steve. Just one of the top ones. It was so solid.
Yeah.
It was really well done.
I think Hardhome. I was making sure I had the title right. I think the Hardhome battle was the best battle.
Yeah.
From season 5.
I do too, because it had like this slow build up in a sense. It was so well orchestrated. Yeah. But all the battles are great. I think what makes this one up there with them somehow, it's the dragons in this case.
Yeah.
It's not so much what was happening on the ground.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really good.
Let's see what happens next week.
Yeah, let's see. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Follow your king. Follow your king.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Yeah, I think I think next week will be obviously a calmer episode, but do you think we'll see another significant death this season? I think there's 4 episodes left?
I don't think significant, but I think some heads will roll somehow in the aftermath of this. Probably more on the green side, more on, in the red, more heads will roll in the red keep than on Dragonstone.
Jared, what do you think? Think we'll lose another main character?
How many episodes left? 4?
4, right? Then there's 8
Yeah,
total?
I think one other character's got to die by the end. Significant. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
what I
so.
think. Yeah.
I think someone... Yeah. We'll see. Well, cool. So until next week, we'll see everyone. Well, you won't see us, but we'll talk to you very soon. Have a great week.
All right.